Here with former NFL defensive lineman Jay DuSable and two-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden. Jay, what did we just witness?
I'm lost. I don't know what. Down 27-0. First and foremost, Austin Ekeler, I believe, had 8 rushing attempts the first half. Hakeem B-Mac, he finished with 13. You're up by 20 points at half, and you don't even try to run the ball, Joe Lombardi. And then costly penalties. Joey Bosa won. He said he was lined up off sides. I believe that was a little ticky-tack. Remember, the Chargers ended up getting a sack on that, which would have put them at third and long situation right there, backed up. But instead, they go down and score a touchdown at the end of that drive. And then 2, unsportsmanlike penalties that were massive. You talked about it, Hakeem. The 2-point conversion try. A lot of people were wondering, why was Doug Peterson going for 2 instead of just kicking the extra point and only going down by 3? Well, the analytics came into play right there. It seems like it was the right decision because it put them at the end of the game with just being down less than a field goal to win the game. And then gutsy call by Doug Peterson on 4th and 1. 3 running back set in the backfield, runs a speed sweeps, out leverages Asante Samuel Jr. He has contained there, got a little nosy inside, and ETN got on the edge, set up Riley Patterson for that game-winning field goal.
B-Mac, let me just to recap this real quick. Let me just get this straight, okay? Jacksonville was 0 for 7 on 3rd down in the first half. 5 turnovers, 4 first-half interceptions from Trevor Lawrence, 3 of them to your guy Asante Samuel Jr. out of Florida State, playing like his papa, making him proud. Seminoles proud as well. They're down 27-7 at halftime. At one point in the first half, Trevor Lawrence had as many completions as he had interceptions. They were down 20 at halftime. They outscored the Chargers 24-3 in the second half. 4 straight touchdown drives. Where do you begin to explain what happened in this game?
Undisciplined play from the Chargers in the second half. Sloppy play. Jay talked about the penalties, the bad penalties coming at the worst situation in the ball game, and just allowing Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars to stick around. And I would like to echo what Jay mentioned in regards to Austin Ekeler. He finished with 13 carries. You're up double digits in the second half. We know what type of playmaker he is. He has been for the Chargers the entire season. Why are you taking the ball away from Austin Ekeler? And then factor this into the equation as well, guys. Trevor Lawrence finished the game with 47 passing attempts. Justin Herbert finished the game with 43 passing attempts. Justin Herbert played this ball game with a nice lead until the fourth quarter, basically. Why is he throwing the ball 40-plus times when you're up 20-plus points? It didn't make any sense at all. 25 and 43, you had a 27-point lead at one point in time in this ball game. You go into halftime with a nice lead. Third quarter, you get the ball right out of half. Throw. Find a way to establish the ground and pound attack because that utilizes the clock. Total mismanagement from their staff. Of course, the lead guy is Brandon Staley. He came into this situation under a lot of scrutiny. You better believe that scrutiny will increase based on what we saw happen in Duval County tonight.
Well, we're going to stay right there because just like the Chargers social media team who kept receipts, we've also got receipts. Mike Williams not able to play in this game because he got injured in a meaningless Week 18 game. Would have been nice to have him in the second half. Would have been nice to run Austin Ekeler more in the second half. Would have been nice to play disciplined football, as both of you said, cashing in on opportunities. Cameron Dicker didn't miss a whole lot of field goals when he joined the Chargers. He misses one here that's critical in the end. And you're Brandon Staley right now, and it's you sit here and go, look, and I'll point out this. The Chargers beat one winning team all season, B-Mac. One winning team. What is next for this Chargers team considering the way they just went out?
Oh, you know what's next. You know exactly what's next. Yes, they probably will fire Brandon Staley, and you better believe who they're going to try to get. Sean Payton, Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, Everett, Keenan Allen. That's a nice offense already there assembled. So basically what we saw tonight was everything that we've witnessed throughout the entire season, even going back to last year. And you talked about that Cameron Dicker missed field goal opportunity, right? You knew something was going on in regards to Brandon Staley because it was 4th and 2. He usually goes for it. But clearly, the outside noise has been affecting him because guess what? He brought out Dicker the kicker, and guess what? He missed that attempt. So no question, this was just a situation for Brandon Staley to kind of create some leverage for himself. Unfortunately, he cut the
Yeah.
You say fire him on the tarmac.
I don't think he deserves to get on the plane. I mean, you cannot be up 27-0 on the road in a playoff game and have a colossal downfall like that. B-Mac, you brought up something that was so monumental in this game because we kind of talked about it here too. That 4th and 3 play, right after Jacksonville decided to decline the penalty, he sends Dicker the kicker out. The thing is, right there, even if you make the field goal, you're still only up by a 2-score lead. So if you get the first down there and score a touchdown, then you go up by 3. Brandon Staley has been known to be aggressive, so that's not the time to kind of like, not be aggressive. That's the time you want to be aggressive in that situation. And then also, not getting your team ready for the second half. Me and Hakeem talked about this on stage. When they scored those 7 points right before half, I said, 20 looks a lot better than coming back from 27. So as a head coach, Brandon Staley, you have to get your team ready to come out in that second half. And they came out flat. You talked about it, B-Mac. They were undisciplined at times with, Joey Bosa and that head referee seemed like they had a personal beef going on. He had 2 unsportsmanlike penalties that were costly in the game. One led to a touchdown later on after he got it in that drive. But again, if you're the head coach, this is from the top down, right? You got to talk to your offensive coordinator. There's no way we're up 20 points at half, and our lead running back only gets 5 carries this second half. Why is Justin Herbert throwing the ball 40 times in a double-digit lead when we're up by 3 scores? Makes absolutely no sense. This was an ultimate choke job by the Chargers. And like you said, B-Mac, I would not be surprised if changes aren't happening at the head coaching position.
And get this, Lejay. Travis Etienne finished the ball game with 20 carries. They were down the entire ball game until the final, 5 minutes or so in the 4th quarter. Austin Eckler finished the ball game with 13 carries. So when you look at the box score, you look at the stats, you would have thought if you didn't watch this ball game and someone told you there was a team that was at one point down 27 points, if you watch the stats and look at the box score, you would have said, you know what? It had to be the Chargers because they didn't run the football. So if you're not running the football, guess what? You're trying to play catch up. You're trying to, put points on the scoreboard and do it extremely fast. But no, it was the Chargers. This is so confusing for me when you talk about having a 27-point lead. Yes, that touchdown right before halftime for Jacksonville was critical because it kind of gave them a little bit of a breath of hope, to say the least. But guess what? The Chargers were receiving the second half kickoff. So it was an opportunity for the Chargers to do what? Take some of that air away from Jacksonville. No, they just wanted to keep their foot on the gas pedal. And that was the storyline outside of the undisciplined play from the individuals in a uniform that led to this total meltdown in the second half by the Chargers.
Well, I know you also want to give credit to Trevor Lawrence and the Jags and Doug Peterson and the play calling, because that going from the first half game script to the second half game script was an absolute flip of the script for Doug Peterson. Because look at this, and we're sitting watching the game, right, in our newsroom. And I told you when the Jags were down 10-0, I go, hey, they won their last 4 games while trailing by 9+ points. Yeah. I'm like, let's not count out the Jags here, okay? We got a huge super Jags fan in our newsroom. His name's Vinny, and he has been the diehard, and he has been going strong representing Duval County. But when you take a look at the complete turnaround here, right, 4 interceptions in the first half for a young quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, 4 touchdowns, 3 of them in the second half to lead the comeback. What does it say about Doug Peterson trusting Trevor Lawrence? Because there was some. Do you sit him in the second half?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's not just him trusting him, right? But kudos to Trevor Lawrence for settling into this game, Hakeem. You never know what mentally that does to your psyche when you throw 4 interceptions like that in the first half. But he was able to bounce back. Now, he was aided by the Chargers. Too many missed tackles the second half. You talked about it, B-Mac. Travis Etienne running the ball. Even when they were down, they still ran the ball with him, and he broke a lot of tackles. Christian Kirk broke some tackles. Evan Ingram broke some tackles. Trevor Lawrence really struggled in man coverage because these DBs from the Chargers, they get in your face like to play some press man. But in the second half, his offensive line gave him some time, and he was able to decipher where to go with the football in man coverage. And then his receivers not only caught the ball, they were able to break some tackles and get some yards after catch. So that was the big thing in the second half, right? The Chargers didn't tackle as well as they did in the first half. And then Trevor Lawrence just really settling and getting into the game in the second half.
B-Mac, something you like to say is big boy play calls. Let's talk about when they scored the touchdown to make it a 3-point game, and they decide to go for 2. They could just make it a 3-point game, kick a field goal, go to overtime. Doug Peterson goes for 2. They convert. Trevor Lawrence reaches over. It's now a 2-point game. So the confidence to be able to do that, to go for the win, and then with a $130 on 4th and 1, we think we're getting a quarterback sneak, and then we got Travis Etienne running off for 25 yards and a first down. I mean, you want to talk about big-time play calling by Doug Peterson? That was a clinic down the stretch.
Oh, no question. Let's go to the 2-point opportunity for Jacksonville. When you under the center, most defenders, and Lejay, you know about this, when you see a quarterback under center, especially when you talk about their offense is primarily a shotgun-like offense, the first thing you think about is some type of quarterback sneak. But uniquely for Jacksonville, they decided to elevate and allow Trevor Lawrence to go over and just put the football over the goal line. That's all he needed to do. Allow the football to touch the goal line, and that was a conversion. Big-time play because instantly for the Chargers, they were anticipating a Jalen Hurts type of quarterback sneak. Then when you talk about the 4th and 1, when you look at that formation, it kind of reminded me of old school football when you talk about a wishbone type. As an edge guy, right, which was Travis Etienne. But then when you see Trevor Lawrence under center, you see how compact the offensive line unit was. The Chargers were thinking the same thing once again. Quarterback sneak, they're going to try to push Trevor Lawrence across the line to convert the first down. So let's condense everyone on the front to play the play. But as you mentioned, Hakeem, great thinking by Doug Peterson because he felt like based on the formation they showed the Chargers would play the play, which is like that Jalen Hurts quarterback sneak, basically attack the perimeter. Is something that we don't usually see from offenses in those type of situations. And as Lejay mentioned, if you're Asante Samuel Jr., you're outflanked because you're already kind of pinching down and you have speed coming to you and all he needs is basically 1 yard. Good luck in trying to stop that play. So big-time play calling from Doug Peterson in the most critical moments of the ball game.
This is incredible because, again, you know how much I didn't like Urban Meyer and how much in one season this team has developed, grown, and become a really good football team under Doug Peterson. I mean, this is something special they got cooking in Duval County, Lejay.
Yeah, I really love what Doug Peterson has done. He's really empowered Trevor Lawrence. Hakeem, you talked about it, right? Some coaches might have thought about pulling Trevor Lawrence when you have 4 interceptions in the first half, but he has faith in the young man. And again, he was highly touted. A lot of people said he was the best recruit they've seen since Andrew Luck. And I think you saw some of that grit and determination in the second half, right? Not being, bogged down by the 4 interceptions, being able to go out there, calm down, calm his feet, let his body and his feet match, knowing where to go with the football, really leaning on Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk in that second half. And then Doug Peterson, like you talked about it, Hakeem, I mean, a wizard with the play calls. Wishbone, you talked about it, B-Mac, 3 backs in the backfield. That's something that you're not accustomed to seeing on defense, especially in today's NFL. So he has a 3-back set, and then he gives a speed sweep to Travis Etienne. If you're Asante Samuel there, you're thinking the ball's going up the middle, so you get out leverage. We know the speed that Travis Etienne has. He gets on the edge, and he sets up, Riley Patterson for that game-winning field goal. But shout out to Doug Peterson and also the Jacksonville defense, right? They showed up big in the second half. When they needed to get the stops, they did. I believe they held them to 3 punts in the second half and then also a missed field goal. So this Jacksonville defense, who, for most of the season has been middle of the pack of the row, the last 3 weeks have played really well against some lesser opponents. They showed up big in that second half when they needed to get stops.
3rd largest comeback in NFL playoff history, down 27-0. And the king of Saturday continues. Trevor Lawrence, now 37-0 on Saturdays, going all the way back to high school. The king of Saturday, and on this day, the Jaguars, the king of the comeback. B-Mac, Lige, appreciate it. Hey, and for more things, all things, check out B-Mac and his podcast, All Things Covered, with former LSU star and Vikings corner Patrick Peterson. He's in the playoffs. It's entertaining and engaging. They talk to some of the biggest names about the sports and entertainment worlds. All Things Covered. Download and subscribe today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.